As a former player, I can only say that sometimes accidents do happen. When you go into a challenge, sometimes it can look worse than it actually is. At least that was my excuse when I got sent off all those times. However, this one, I just don't think you can have any defence for Kylian Mbappé for the way he goes into the challenge.
Well, we're wondering if there's going to be a lengthy suspension for Mbappé coming up from this one because, yes, they get the win here, so they stay within 4 points of Barcelona. They'll get to play Barcelona in La Liga play later in the season, but the way things are going for Real Madrid right now, and then you add this, there's going to be at least some sort of suspension for Mbappé to it. What do we take away from this?
Listen, first and foremost, I want to say well done for them getting the points because obviously playing down, having a red card in the first half is never easy, but Real Madrid found a way to win the game and an important game to keep them in a title race with Barcelona. I think Atleti are pretty much out of it now, but it keeps Real Madrid in contention, and I think that's the most important factor that came out of this game. The red card will be scrutinised by the media, and I think it already has been by many members of the media. Now, as a former player, I can only say that sometimes accidents do happen. When you go into a challenge, sometimes it can look worse than it actually is. At least that was my excuse when I got sent off all those times. However, this one, I just don't think you can have any defence for Kylian Mbappé for the way he goes into the challenge. I mean, if you slow it down, it looks worse. It looks like he's actually purposely gone in to hurt this player, which is so unusual. And in many ways, you would say it's out of character. But if you go through history, he's been sent off before. And he is someone who has a bit of a nasty streak about him. And of course, he's not going to sit back and take it. He was frustrated in this game. His team wasn't playing the way they wanted to play. And he was frustrated. He wanted to perform better. He wanted more contacts on the ball, wanted chances in front of goal. I think what you're recognising, and I think in the Arsenal game, it was also something similar, that there is a lack of discipline creeping into this team. This is a great example of it. It can happen in multiple formats. Lack of discipline can start with fouls like this. It can start with talking back to referees or talking back to, obviously, officials or talking back to your coaches. But I also think if you go back to the Arsenal game in particular, there was a lack of discipline when it comes to effort from Real Madrid. You know, in that game against Arsenal, where they lost and were humiliated, I'm sure you were happy about that, they ran 12 kilometres less than the Arsenal did. To me, that's lack of discipline, that lack of will, that lack of desire. And at the end of the day, who's the one that's going to get punished? Not the team, it's going to be the coach.
Well, by the way, it's worth pointing out, and by the way, Marca is putting the target right on that man you just mentioned, Carlo Ancelotti. I think it's worth pointing out, we saw that picture of him hitting the pen up in the booth.
What does it say? You've been learning Spanish? What does it say?
I knew you were going to put me on the spot here. La debacle. I think that means it's a debacle against Arsenal. Yeah, and remontada.
He's on the ropes.
Yeah, but it's of note that he was up in the booth because he was suspended as well because he's gotten so many yellow cards this year. You mentioned the incident with Bellingham earlier this year, and did he say blank off or blank you? There is a repeated petulance.
Yeah.
Whether it's against opponents. I mean, that one from Mbappé looked really, really bad. I think, and then you've got incidents with referees. You got your manager lashing out. Ancelotti, I mean, does he deserve to be blamed the way that the newspapers are right now for this?
Unfortunately, that's what you get when you're in charge of this wonderful football club. When you're the man, the buck stops with you. And unfortunately, history is forgotten about very quickly at this football club, more so than any other football club in the world. And Ancelotti, at the end of the day, will feel the pressure immediately. They lost the first leg. They're talking about firing him after the second leg. They've still got a Copa del Rey final against Barcelona to go. They've still got an opportunity to win the La Liga title.
4 points off the La Liga title.
I mean, listen, it's ridiculous to even have a conversation in the disrespect towards Carlo Ancelotti that he could be fired from what's happening with this football club. But these types of decisions with Kylian Mbappé making a stupid challenge like that shows you that there is an immediate lack of discipline within that football club right now. And at the end of the day, it will always come down to the manager. Above him, there's expectancy to compete every single season for the Champions League trophy. You win a Champions League trophy, you keep your job for the next season. It's not about what you do domestically, it's about what you do in European football to prove that you are the kings of Europe. And Ancelotti's done it so many times. I don't know why he would want to continue to do it. But he didn't look like he was worried, smoking his vape, chilling out, watching the game. It was ridiculous to watch that type of a performance. This guy looks like the most chilled out guy in the world. I mean, look how relaxed he is. Obviously, his teammates and his players were a little frustrated. How about that? This dude just doesn't feel pressure. Do you know why, Nate?
I don't know.
He's won
To
so
me,
much.
That looks like a guy who's hitting the pen because he needs to chill out a little bit. He's like, oh my gosh, this
I don't
is tough.
buy it. I don't buy it. And I don't agree with any of the nonsense that comes from the media. But at the end of the day, that's that football club, right? You got to win. If you don't win, you're out. And the way Real Madrid are playing right now, not good enough. The results, okay, but not great.
I think a lot of us were saying, don't rule out a comeback against Arsenal in the second leg. But now they've just had to play this match down a man, and they're going to be even more tired.
Does it happen? Do Arsenal go through, or do Real Madrid go through? You answer that one.
Man, every time I pick against Arsenal, they win. I don't want to jinx it, but I actually think Arsenal's going to get it done with what we're seeing from Real Madrid right now.